Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Beyond World is One. Let's start with the headlines. Goa Chief Minister orders inquiry into a fire at a nightclub in North Goa. At least 23 people, including some tourists, have died in the blaze from a suspected cylinder blast. India's aviation regulator issues a 24-hour show-cause notice to Indigo's top brass, including CEO Peter Elbers, over chaos and cancellation of several flights in the past few days. US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says he fully supports the second strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean, but denies having issued a kill order on survivors. The Venezuelan army spells in 5,600 new soldiers as the United States cranks up military presence in the Caribbean. Hamas says it is ready to hand over its weapons in Gaza to the Palestinian Authority, governing the territory on the condition that the Israeli army's occupation ends, referring to a sovereign and independent Palestinian state. In Athens, clashes break out between protesters and police during protests to mark the 17th anniversary of the killing of a teenager by police. Demonstrators marched on the anniversary of the shooting in 2008, which had triggered Greece's worst riots in decades back then.
Iran has announced the discovery of a major gold deposit at the Shahdan gold mine, that is in South Khorasan province, which is one of the country's most important mining sites. Now, according to media reports, the newly identified vein is estimated to hold 7.95 million tons of oxide gold ore and 53.1 million tons of sulfide gold ore, which is going to be a significant boost to the mine's proven reserves. The country has not officially disclosed the amount of its national gold reserves, but claims to have significantly increased its purchases in recent years. This discovery is expected to strengthen Iran's economy, which has been crippled by international sanctions. 12-day war between Israel and Iran, during which the United States struck Iranian nuclear facilities, further impacted the country's economy. The country's central bank has been increasing its gold purchases, with Governor saying that Iran was among the world's top 5 gold-buying central banks between 2023 and 2024. Iran has 15 gold mines in total, with the largest being the Zarusharan mine, which is located in the country's northwest region.
In India, a massive fire at a restaurant cum club in Goa has left at least 23 people dead, including 3 women. Well, reports said that some tourists were among the dead in the fire, which broke out in Arpura village in the North Goa district. The blaze was reported shortly after midnight, triggering an immediate response from the police, fire services and emergency medical teams. Authorities say the injured were quickly moved to nearby hospitals while crews worked through the night to contain the flames and recover victims. Goa's Chief Minister, Pramod Sawant, has called the tragedy unfortunate, especially for a state known globally for tourism.
गोवा सरकार की तरफ से पूरी उसकी इंक्वायरी की जाएगी और जो कल्प्रिट इसमें हैं जो उनको बिहाइंड द बार्स किया जाएगा.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed his sadness over the tragedy and wished the injured a rapid recovery. He said that he has spoken with Goa Chief Minister to understand the situation on the ground. Goa's Director General of Police, Alok Kumar, said that the fire is now fully under control and all bodies have been recovered. Authorities say medical teams are providing treatment for the injured and support is being arranged for the families of those who have lost their lives. A detailed investigation is now underway into what sparked the fire. For more details on this, WION's principal correspondent Siddharth MP is joining us on the broadcast. Siddharth, what can you tell us?
Initial reports based on eyewitness accounts indicate, Diksha, that this was caused by an LPG blast or an LPG cylinder blast, which is a gas cylinder blast. So this is what the initial information suggests, because close to midnight hour, passers-by and people in the region say that there was a massive explosion, and perhaps the only reason that such an explosion would take place is a gas cylinder blast. And of course, what is also being now probed is, whether this was an illegal bar that was functioning, illegal resto bar that was functioning, and now the government is also cracking down on illegal resto bars in the state. They say that they're conducting a statewide safety audit, because now is the peak tourist season, and also this is a time when maximum number of foreign tourists are coming in. So this kind of an incident clearly raises safety concerns, and for a state that is heavily dependent on tourism revenue, this is a major setback, because 23 lives lost in a single venue, in a single night, just following midnight hour. It's an absolutely tragic incident. Of course, it's known right now that a vast number of the casualties were people who were working in that very establishment. However, there's been 23 lives lost, and this is a major incident that has caused shockwaves. So there's an investigation underway by the police authorities as well, but prima facie, based on eyewitness accounts and local accounts of those who were passing by that region, they say that it was a massive explosion, which then later led to a fire that, raged on for quite a while. So this indicates that there's every possibility of it having been a gas cylinder blast that took place, Diksha.
Right, Siddharth, of course, it's a tragic turn of events, but we'll have to wait as more details trickle in. Thank you so much for getting us all those details. That was our correspondent, Siddharth, joining us on the phone line.
So he had no time to even think, and luckily I've got a motorhome, we got it out, so we've got somewhere in the interim to stay, and got two of our cars still stuck over there. We'll try and retrieve them later. And, we'll start again. We've lost everything. All we've got left is what we're wearing,
I just wanted to speak about a few things. As it stands, there are 75 bushfires in New South Wales, 19 uncontained fires across the state. That includes, or that's being managed or fought with 300 vehicles currently deployed by the RFS across New South Wales. Obviously, the situation in Coolawong is devastating for the people who've lost their houses. We've got a confirmed situation of 12 damaged or destroyed homes as it currently stands, though that number may rise. There are no reports of missing, injured or killed individuals as it currently stands, which is good news.
Hundreds of people took to the streets of Mogadishu on Friday to voice their outrage at US President Trump's reference to Somali immigrants as garbage. Speaking at a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Trump said Somali Americans contribute nothing. We don't want them in our country, he said. His comments have been met with shock and condemnation in the US and Somalia. We are protesting against Trump's insulting words, calling us garbage. We are not garbage. He is the one who is trash. Since he failed in his politics, he's trying to divert public attention. There are more than 250,000 people of Somali descent living in the US, including Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Demonstrators waved banners and images of Omar and chanted anti-Trump slogans. Trump has violated our dignity and we will not accept what he called us. We are Somalis and we have our own pride. He does not understand this. Trump's attack on Somali Americans was triggered by reports of fraud in social security programs in Minnesota, which is home to a large Somali community. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has condemned Trump's comments.
The Trump administration says they're targeting violent criminals with this immigration crackdown, but the data proves this is not happening. Let's talk about what these federal raids are really doing. Cities like Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Chicago, big deployments, military gear, masked ICE agents, flashy names like Patriot 2.0. But here's the truth. More than half the people that they have arrested in all these different raids, no criminal record. In D.C., it wasn't even 50%. 84% of the people arrested in Washington, D.C. had no criminal record, but they were arrested for deportation anyway. In Illinois, during Midway Blitz, ICE arrested 54 people with violent crimes, and that's good. But they also arrested 78 people whose worst offense was a traffic ticket, and all of them are going to get deported. And nationwide, it's the same shift. When Trump took office, 46% of the people who were getting deported had a violent criminal record. Now that's down just to 28%, basically 1 out of 4 people. In Massachusetts, during this huge crackdown, a lot of publicity, 2 people had a violent conviction. And 63 people had no criminal record whatsoever. Previously, all the deportations were coming from people who are already in jail, being transferred to immigration for deportation. That's where you find the criminals. Now the arrests are happening at workplaces, courthouses, airports, green card interviews, outside schools, on the street. So while the government says they're going after the worst of the worst, the numbers show they're just picking up people who are undocumented, who have no criminal record. So if the idea is to get rid of criminals, that's not what's happening. But if the idea is to get rid of people who don't look like me, that's what's happening. If you're worried about how these raids are affecting you, talk to a good immigration lawyer.
All right, moving on. The U.S. is ordered to sell 250 used Stryker vehicles to Poland for just $1. Now, the offer was announced by Poland's Deputy Prime Minister, Kosiniak-Kamysz. Well, according to the Polish minister, Warsaw plans to accept the deal as soon as the logistics can be worked out. Under the proposed plan, the Stryker vehicles will be transferred to Poland. The move follows U.S.'s decision to reduce its troops on NATO's eastern flank. The move would be a big boost to Poland, which is facing a shortage of armoured vehicles. Warsaw currently relies on Soviet-era BWP-1 amphibious tracked infantry vehicles, and these have been in service for several decades now and are now outdated. However, the deal faces several hurdles. The depleted Strykers will require repairs and preparation for their support base and training system. This could be a costly and time-consuming solution. And secondly, Polish government has lately prioritized domestic production, such as the Rosomak infantry vehicles. The availability of Strykers will limit the need for domestic orders. Well, the development comes amid heightened tensions between Russia and Europe. NATO's eastern flank has seen frequent drone incursions, raising fears that the Ukraine war could spill over into the Eastern Europe. It also coincides with Washington's growing reluctance to fund Europe's defense and security architecture, and President Donald Trump has repeatedly urged NATO countries to take the onus of their defenses. Reports even suggest that Washington has set 2027 as the deadline for Europe to take over NATO's defense capabilities.
A country is on the edge, a warning to the world, and a red alert from Washington. So the United States has just sent out one of its strongest travel warnings in years. Not advised, by the way, not a suggestion, a command. Do not go to Venezuela for any reason, and if you are already there, leave now. You're watching Times XP. My name is Rithi Athri, and this isn't a normal travel advisory, right? This is a message delivered with urgency, fear, and finality. The United States State Department told every single American citizen and legal resident inside Venezuela to pack up and get out immediately. No delay, no second thought, no tourist plan, because according to American officials, Venezuela right now is a cocktail of danger. Risk of being wrongfully arrested, torture inside detention center, terror threats, kidnapping, violent crimes, political unrest, broken medical system, and laws applied without any warning. Now let me clarify this for you. He wants to say that once you enter, you may not come back. So what triggered this sudden alarm? The answer is chilling. So behind the scenes, Washington is preparing to something big. Something very, very serious, something that could shake South America. So reports suggest that the Donald Trump administration is actually considering direct action inside Venezuela. Not just pressure, not just sanctions, but operations on the ground and in the air. And look at what is already happening over there. American warships are moving in the Caribbean. Powerful military aircrafts are flying closely. Advanced fighter jets like the F-35 have reportedly been positioned for missions. Now, officially, the US says that these are anti-drug operations. Unofficially, it can be anything. Here, analysts believe that this is strategic positioning against Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro. Washington accuses him of running a massive drug network, not just corruption here, but a narco state. In fact, the US has now labeled a group that is linked to him as a terror organization. Well, this is not a small accusation. It is a legal step that often comes before any military action, and then came the most dramatic statement of all. Donald Trump reportedly called the airspace over Venezuela in danger. Yes, now it's closed, completely closed. Not for a few hours, not for a warning drill, but as a signal. As a message that something is coming, and it could come fast. Reports say that he even told US troops to be ready for land missions very soon to go after suspected trafficker networks. This is a code phrase for boot on the ground. Now look at it from Maduro's side. His power is weakening, his economy is broken, his people are angry, and now the world's most powerful military is circling him. So this is no longer a political battle. This is a survival situation, and for him, his own government, his control. And in such moments, countries don't issue travel warnings. They clear the field, they remove the civilians, they reduce the risk, because in shadows, when nations prepare for conflicts, the first step is always the same. Get your people out.
Here again, we've been focused, and here we've been clear. If you're working for a designated terrorist organization and you bring drugs to this country in a boat, we will find you and we will sink you. Let there be no doubt about it. President Trump can and will take decisive military action as he sees fit.
Something really big just happened inside Iran. Not a protest here, not an airstrike, not a political speech. It was a military message, and that too to the rest of the world. And you know what? It came straight from the heart of Iran's most powerful force, and that force is the IRGC. You're watching Times XP. My name is Riddhi Yatri, and picture this. In Iran's northwestern region, dust in the air, boots on the ground, weapons already. A massive counter-terror drill named Sahan 2025 is entering its final stage. And standing there, watching all of this unfold, Iran's top commander. His message? Well, we are ready to teach others what we know. No conditions, no limits, no hesitation here. But the question is, who are these others? Not small players, not weak nations. We are talking about members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, basically a powerful Eurasia group that includes China, Russia, India, Pakistan and more. These are countries that together control a huge part of the world's population and a massive slice of global power as well. And Iran just told them that we will share our battlefield experiences with you. This is not classroom theory, ladies and gentlemen. This is knowledge built on real conflicts, urban warfare, counter-terror operations, surveillance tactics, drone defense, ground coordination. Experience shaped in Syria, in Iraq, in regional conflicts around the Middle East. Well, it is Iran that is essentially saying that we have been in the fire. Now we'll show you how to survive it. But why? Why now? Why this moment? Because the answer is that the world is changing fast. Terror networks are shifting, technology is evolving, the Middle East is unstable, and the global power is splitting into rival camps. With the US and its allies on one side, and Russia, China and Iran. Others maybe also. They are at the center of the gravity of a different dimension. This is not just training, this is alignment. This is a quiet but very powerful challenge to Western security dominance, and there's something else happening. These drills were not really solo Iranian show. Forces from multiple SCO countries, they are involved here, be it observers, military, strategists, commanders. Together, sharing spaces, sharing tactics, sharing the strategy here. Now that's not coincidence, that is strategy. So what does this really mean to the world? It means Iran is stepping up into a new role. Not just a regional power, not just a Middle East influencer, but a security partner for the major world powers. It is saying that you don't need NATO, you don't need the West. Come to us. And that message is loud, rather very loud. So here's the bigger picture. When military knowledge, it moves across borders, power shift. Alliances change, equations break, new strategies are born, and enemies, they do take the road. This one announcement could quietly reshape the future of the regional warfares. No missiles fired, no bombs dropped, just words. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow strip of water, but one of the most dangerous places on the earth. And tonight, it is no longer just a sea route. It's a message, a warning, a flex of power. Iran has just turned this particular stretch of water into a war stage. Warships in formation, fast attack boats roaring really fast. Drones circling above, missiles ready to launch. This isn't any routine training. This isn't just for cameras. This is Iran's response to the rest of the world. And the timing? Not accidental, not random. Just 24 hours after a major global summit backed by the UAE's claim over the strategic islands, Greater Turn, Laser Turn and Abu Mossa. Iran heard that and Iran answered, and that too with war games. The IRGC, Iran's most powerful military arm, moved its forces straight into the Strait of Hormuz. Well, this is the artery of global energy. 1/5 of the world's oil passes through that particular area, and natural gas too. And Iran is saying one thing very clearly here: this is my backyard. These are my waters, and I control the gate here. Can you visualize this for a second? American warships in the distance, Iranian speedboats rushing past, fast, aggressive, close. Missile systems locked and loaded, radar lights blinking, soldiers on the edge. No shots fired, but every move screaming power confrontation. Well, it's a chessboard, but the pieces are warships. And behind this show of strength is a deeper angle. Tehran is furious at the GCC Italy summit, furious at the support for UAE's territorial claim, furious at what it sees as foreign interference. So it does what Iran does the best. It doesn't issue just words, it issues a military warning. And now here's the scary part. Iran has warned again and again that if tensions rise, we can block the strait. Now that means no oil tankers, no easy trade, no stable fuel prices. A shutdown here and the world economy feels the shockwaves. From Washington to Beijing, from Delhi to London, every country is watching this water today. And let's not forget another pressure point here, Iran's recent face-off with Israel. The constant threat of escalation, the shadow of retaliation. This drill is not only for the UAE, not only for the US, it is also a message to Tel Aviv. You are not the only one who can flex power. In the end, what this really means, is this just a drill or preparation for something bigger? A blockade? A confrontation? A final warning before a spark? Because when warships start talking, diplomacy starts whispering.
You are 76 years old now. I'm curious how much longer you want to stay in public life.
I don't measure it by time. I measure it by missions, by tasks. I'm supported by a great majority of the people in the country. You never know that by the foreign reporting, but that's it. That's why I keep winning these elections. I'm not a king. I have to get elected, for God's sake. And, I have great support at home. The people support me. Now, what do they support me for? They want me to complete the quest for peace. They understand that just as I really liberated Israel's economy from stagnant semi-socialism to become one of the most remarkable founts of creativity and innovation and technology in the world, unbelievable technology, we have now an opportunity. I see a much greater revolution coming. It's here. It's not coming. It's already here. And all the wondrous technologies that we have, some of them are very frightening. I've talked to the leaders of AI in the world, and you ask yourself, there's so many blessings in this, but there could be a curse. But to challenge it or to channel it into the blessings that Israel can give itself and the world, I think there's another revolution coming. I tend to steer it along with the achievement of a broader peace. These are two enormous tasks that I'd like to take on. And you know, when history is within reach, you don't step aside, you step forward. And that's what I'm doing.